Hey, everybody, and welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're going to try to crack the code on attraction,
Yeah.
but specifically, like those subtle signs that women give off when they're interested.
Mm-hmm.
We found this really cool article, and it's all about like helping men understand
Yeah.
those kind of hidden signals. And you know what? I actually think that anyone, regardless of gender, can learn something from this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of times these signs really do fly under the radar. We tend to look for the really big, obvious signs, and we forget that attraction
Right.
it's much more subtle. It's kind of like a dance.
Totally. And that's why I think understanding body language and just those unspoken cues can be so insightful.
Mhm.
Are you ready to dive into sign number 1?
I am completely ready. Let's unravel these mysteries.
Okay, so get this. The first sign is called the chatty paradox.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how, like, someone can be like a total social butterfly, right? They're talking to everyone in the room,
Mm-hmm.
but then when it comes to you, they just like clam up.
Yeah. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
That could actually be a sign of attraction.
Really?
It sounds counterintuitive,
Uh-huh.
but you got to think about it.
Okay.
When we're attracted to someone, their opinion matters more to us.
Oh, totally. Like
Ah.
suddenly you're super aware of like every little thing you say and do.
Right. You're thinking about it.
It's kind of like
You don't want to have it up.
it's kind of like a job interview
Yeah.
for a job that you really, really want.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right.
Because you're so worried about messing it up,
Yeah.
you want to put your best foot forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, researchers actually call this cognitive overload.
Oh, wow.
Our brains get so focused on making a good impression
Yeah.
that they basically short circuit.
Yeah.
And that's why you get those awkward silences or,
Huh.
people fumble over their words.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it's not like they're not interested. It's like they're interested and so they get nervous.
They're nervous. Exactly.
Okay, I can see that.
It all goes back to like our deep-seated need for connection.
Yeah.
Like, from an evolutionary perspective, forming social bonds was crucial for survival.
Right.
And that instinct is still there.
Wow, it's like wired into us.
Totally.
Okay, so much sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
On to sign number 2. This one is called the fleeting glance.
Okay.
I have definitely noticed this one before.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you catch like a quick glimpse of her looking at you,
Mm-hmm.
but then the moment like your eyes meet, she looks away.
Right.
What is that all about?
Have you ever thought about how intense prolonged eye contact can be?
Oh, yeah. Like it's
It can feel like almost a physical sensation.
totally, it's like magnetic or something.
Right. And there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Research has actually shown that type of eye contact can trigger like a release of dopamine,
Oh, wow.
which is the feel-good hormone.
So it's like this little mini dopamine rush every time you make eye contact with someone you're attracted to.
Pretty much, yeah,
No wonder it feels so like electric.
exactly.
Mm.
And so those quick glances, especially if she looks down or to the side afterwards, that's probably her way of managing those intense feelings.
Oh, that's interesting.
Especially, if this is kind of in the early stages of attraction.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so sign number 3 is called thoughtful responses.
Right.
And I think we can all relate to this one.
For sure.
Those delayed text replies that just like leave you hanging.
Ugh.
Is a slow response always a bad sign though?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Instead of focusing so much on when she responds, pay attention to the quality of the reply.
Oh, okay.
Like if her messages are long and detailed
Yeah.
and they show genuine effort, even if it comes a little bit later, that's a really good indicator.
So she's not playing games. She's just like taking her time to craft a really good response.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And let's not forget about like all the societal pressures that women often face.
Yeah.
There's this idea that they're not supposed to appear too eager.
Ugh. It's so annoying.
I know, and that can really play a role in how they communicate.
That's such a good point. Okay, so on to sign number 4.
All right.
This one is called the cold shoulder.
Okay.
But specifically, like, when other girls come up.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so let's say you're talking to her and
Yeah.
you mention another woman, and
Huh?
suddenly her mood changes.
Like she gets quiet or...
Yeah, like she gets quiet or she seems like standoffish.
Mm-hmm.
Is she jealous or is she just not that interested?
This is one of those situations where actions speak louder than words.
Okay.
That sudden shift of her behavior, whether she gets withdrawn or she acts like she's indifferent,
Yeah.
often means the opposite of what it seemed.
Oh, so she is jealous, but she's trying to like hide it.
Exactly. It's probably a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
It's a way of protecting her ego and just avoiding appearing vulnerable.
Oh, that's so interesting. It's like all those classic rom-coms, where
It's-
they like pretend they don't care even though they're totally head over heels.
It's a classic for a reason.
Right, exactly. that brings us to sign number 5. This one is called X-bashing.
Okay. This sounds juicy.
Now, this one might seem a little strange,
Yeah.
but hear me out. Have you ever noticed how, like, when a woman is into you, she might bring up your exes?
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Yeah. Like they were terrible or something.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
is she just trying to, like, stir the pot, or is there something deeper going on there?
It's more about like subconscious positioning.
Okay.
By pointing out like flaws in your past relationships, she's kind of subtly implying that she's a better match.
Oh, so it's like a subtle form of competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it as her way of saying, hey, I get you.
Right.
I could make you happy in a way that they couldn't.
Whoa, I never thought of it that way. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, on to sign number 6. This one has to do with a woman's tone of voice.
Ooh, tone of voice.
I like it.
Have you ever noticed how like your voice changes depending on who you're talking to
Oh, yeah?
or how you're feeling?
Absolutely. Like when I'm excited, I talk faster.
Right. And when I'm trying to be persuasive, I lower my voice.
Totally. It's so fascinating how much our voices can reveal.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the same thing goes for attraction.
Okay.
When a woman is interested in you,
Mm-hmm.
her voice might become more animated,
Oh.
or she might even adopt like a softer, more feminine tone.
It's like her voice is subconsciously trying to convey her feelings, even if she's not explicitly saying them.
Yeah.
The article specifically mentioned like a happy and energetic tone indicating enjoyment, and then a softer tone aiming to be more appealing.
Yeah. I can see that.
Isn't that interesting?
That's really
It's
interesting.
like our bodies are such complex communication systems.
It's incredible. Even when we try to play it cool,
Yeah,
our voices often betray how we really feel.
so true. Okay, this next sign
How
is
about-
something I think we've all experienced at some point.
Yeah.
It's sign number 7, and it's called laughing at everything.
Oh, yeah. I've been there.
You know when you tell a joke and it's maybe not that funny,
Right.
but she just like cracks up anyway? Uh-huh.
What's going on there?
Well, there's actually a scientific basis for this.
No way.
Yeah, studies have shown that women actually find men they're attracted to funnier.
What?
It's crazy, right?
So it's not that my jokes are suddenly hilarious.
Right?
It's that she's more receptive to my humor because there's a spark.
Exactly. It's like her perception of humor is heightened because she's enjoying the interaction so much.
Wow. And think about it, like
Yeah.
laughing together creates such a positive,
Mm-hmm.
enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Which can like really strengthen a bond between two people.
Exactly. It's like this shared language that
Right.
builds connection and rapport.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
So on to sign number 8. This one is called the effortless effort.
Okay.
This is when you notice that she just always seems to look amazing
Right.
when she knows she'll see you.
Yeah. It goes back to that desire to make a good impression.
Right.
Like if she wasn't interested, she wouldn't put in the extra effort.
So it really shows that she values your opinion and wants you to find her attractive.
And it's not always about being like dressed to the nines, right?
No, not at all.
Sometimes it's like subtle touches,
Right.
like wearing your favorite color or like a particular perfume.
Totally. It's all about the details.
It's like saying, hey, I put in this extra effort because you're worth it.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. All right, so sign number 9. This one gets a little more into like the realm of physical touch.
Okay.
It's called reciprocating touch.
Right.
Let's say you lightly touch her arm during a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean if she doesn't pull away?
That's a really significant sign
Okay,
because it shows a level of comfort with you
right?
and a willingness to engage in that kind of physical intimacy.
Yeah.
And if she touches you back, even better.
Okay.
That suggests a mutual attraction
Yeah.
and a desire to connect on a deeper level.
The article mentions some examples like brushing up against your hand or like, you know, those playful shoulder taps.
Yeah, those little things.
Yeah.
They're all subtle ways of kind of testing the waters and gauging your interest level.
Oh, that's so interesting. And, you know, a lot of women are hesitant to initiate physical contact, especially in those early stages.
Right.
So her willingness to reciprocate that is a really positive sign.
Absolutely.
Okay, are you ready for sign number 10?
I'm ready. Get me.
This one might surprise you. It's called the friend zone, but not really. It's that moment when her friends suddenly seem really interested in you.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Right.
So are her friends genuinely into me, or is there something else going on?
Yeah, what is happening there?
You got to think of it like a covert operation.
What?
They've likely been briefed on the situation,
Oh my gosh.
and now they're gathering intel.
So it's less about them being romantically interested and more about like scooping you out
Yeah.
as a potential match for their friend.
Exactly. It suggests that she's talked about you,
Wow.
and her friends are invested in her happiness.
That is so cool.
They're subtly trying to nudge things in the right direction.
Yeah, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, it's like a little matchmaking scheme.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Okay, so we just explored 10 really fascinating signs
Yeah.
that might indicate a woman is interested,
Mm-hmm.
even if she's not being super direct about it.
For sure.
But there's still so much more to unpack. Stay tuned for part 2 of this deep dive.
Can't wait.
All right, see you soon.
Say up.
Welcome back. We just explored 10 fascinating signs.
10 already.
I know, right?
That a woman might be interested even if she's not being super direct about it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to like shift gears a little bit and kind of dig into like the why behind these subtle cues.
Yeah.
Like, why do women often rely on these like hidden signals instead of just being upfront about their feelings?
Right.
You would think it would be so much easier to just like say, hey, I'm interested.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not always that simple.
Okay.
And, a big part of it goes back to those societal norms that we talked about earlier, right? Like, there's still this pressure on women to be more passive in dating,
Yeah,
to not come on too strong.
exactly. And it's not fair, but it's a reality.
Right. And I guess that also ties into, like, fear of rejection.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is, like,
That's huge.
the universal human experience.
Yeah.
But I think for women, it can be even more daunting.
Yeah, you're right, because there's this added layer of like societal expectations and judgment.
Totally. Like, putting your heart out there is never easy.
It's hard.
But I think those societal expectations definitely amplify those fears.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like there's this invisible script that says women should be demure and let men take the lead.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
I know, but you know what's interesting? There's also this element of like the excitement of the chase.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
You mean like a little bit of mystery and uncertainty can actually make someone more attractive?
sometimes. Yeah.
Oh,
Think about it from an evolutionary perspective.
okay.
Our ancestors had to work to win over potential mates.
Right. It wasn't like Tinder back then.
Exactly. It wasn't just about expressing interest. It was about like demonstrating your worth.
Wow. So those primal instincts are still like wired into us even if we don't realize it.
I think so.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
So we've got societal norms,
Mm-hmm.
fear of rejection, and even our evolutionary history
A
all contributing to these subtle signs of attraction.
whole mix of factors.
It's so complex.
It is.
Which is why I think it's so important to be mindful
Yeah,
and to avoid jumping to conclusions.
absolutely. You don't want to
Okay.
misread the signals.
Right, exactly. So how do we get better at like reading those signs without overthinking every little interaction?
That's the key, right?
Yeah,
Well, first and foremost, you got to remember that every woman is an individual.
of course.
What might be a clear sign of attraction for one person could mean something completely different for another.
So there's no like one size fits all approach.
Exactly.
Right.
So you really need to pay attention to her baseline behavior.
Like how she interacts with other people.
Yeah, exactly. How does she treat you differently?
Oh, so like those subtle shifts in behavior.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about those situations where the signals seem mixed?
Yeah.
How do you figure out what's really going on?
That's where open and honest communication comes in.
Yeah.
If you're genuinely unsure about her feelings,
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to have a conversation.
Oh, I know. It can be so scary to put yourself out there like that.
I get it. It's vulnerable.
What if she doesn't feel the same way?
Rejection is always a possibility.
Yeah.
But you know, it's better to know for sure
Okay.
than to constantly second guess yourself
Right.
and just live in a state of uncertainty.
Yeah, I can see that. And even if things don't work out romantically,
Yeah.
having that clarity can like pave the way for a genuine and respectful friendship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best outcome.
Right. Okay, so communication is key.
It's essential.
But before we jump into how to express our own interests,
Okay.
I kind of want to talk about some common pitfalls to avoid. When trying to interpret these subtle signs,
Right.
what are some mistakes that people often make?
Well, I think one of the biggest traps is overanalyzing every little interaction.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get caught in that spiral
Right.
of trying to decode every glance or every text message.
It's like trying to find a hidden message in like a random pattern of clouds.
Totally. Sometimes a smile is just a smile.
Okay.
Relax enjoy the interaction, and trust your intuition.
Right. Don't let the fear of like missing a sign take away from the genuine connection you're building.
That's so important.
Yeah. Okay. So don't overanalyze. What else?
Another mistake is making assumptions
Okay.
based on limited information.
Oh, yeah.
Like just because a woman laughs at your jokes
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean she's head over heels in love with you.
Maybe she just has a great sense of humor.
Exactly. Or maybe she's just being polite.
Right.
Remember, women are individuals
Yeah.
to their own unique personalities and communication styles.
So we need to like avoid those sweeping generalizations.
For sure. And really try to understand the specific person we're interacting with.
Yeah. Get to know her.
Okay, I like that. And any other pitfalls we should be aware of?
I think the last one is don't let the fear of rejection hold you back from expressing your own interest.
Okay.
If you're feeling a connection,
Mm-hmm.
take a chance and see where it leads.
Yeah. Sometimes the best way to decipher someone's feelings
Yeah,
is to just be upfront about your own.
absolutely. Vulnerability can be a powerful tool.
Totally. So we've explored the why behind those subtle signs,
Mm-hmm.
and we've learned some valuable tips for avoiding common pitfalls.
Hopefully.
But the journey's not over yet.
Not yet.
In part 3, we're going to delve into some practical strategies for building attraction
Yes.
and taking things to the next level.
Your next level, I like it.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into subtle signs of attraction.
Yeah.
We've decoded those hidden signals.
We did?
We explored the psychology behind them.
Hmm.
We even tackled some of those common pitfalls.
It's been a journey. It really has. And now it's time to put all that knowledge into action.
Yes. Let's talk strategy.
Okay, so let's say you've noticed some of those signs that we've been talking about, and you're feeling that spark yourself.
Yeah.
How do you turn that initial attraction into something more?
Right. That's the big question.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Okay.
How do you navigate that delicate dance of showing interest
Yeah.
without coming on too strong?
Well, first and foremost, you got to remember that building genuine attraction is a process.
Okay.
It's about creating a connection
Yeah.
that goes beyond just those surface level interactions.
So no cheesy pickup lines.
No cheesy pickup lines.
Or trying to play a character you're not.
Exactly. Be yourself.
Okay.
Show genuine interest in getting to know her,
Mm-hmm.
and let your personality shine through.
I mean, that makes sense. Because like trying to be someone you're not is exhausting.
It is.
And it's not going to lead to a genuine connection anyway.
That's sustainable.
Right. Exactly. And don't be afraid to be a little vulnerable.
Well, that's huge.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts and feelings.
Okay.
Within reason, of course.
Right.
But vulnerability can really foster trust
Mm-hmm.
and allow for that deeper connection.
It's like saying, hey, I'm willing to let you see the real me,
Exactly.
which I think can be incredibly attractive.
It is. It shows confidence.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about authenticity
Mm-hmm.
and connection.
Yes.
Now let's talk about those all-important first moves.
All right. I like it. Let's get into it.
How do you escalate things without ending up in the dreaded friend zone?
Oh, the friend zone.
You know, everyone wants to avoid that.
Yeah.
So how do you show romantic interest
Mhm.
without seeming like too forward?
Well, this is where those subtle signs that we talked about earlier can be really helpful.
Okay.
If she's reciprocating your touch,
Yeah.
laughing at your jokes, and generally seeming engaged,
Yeah.
those are all green lights to proceed with a little more confidence.
Okay, so it's all about like reading the room
Exactly.
and responding to those cues.
Be present in the moment.
Okay, I like that. Pay attention to her body language.
Yes.
Is she leaning in,
Uh-huh.
making eye contact,
Yeah,
mirroring your movements?
those are all good signs.
It's like a silent conversation where her body's saying, hey, I'm comfortable with you and I'm interested in what you have to say.
I love that.
Right.
It's like a secret language.
Exactly.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to compliment her,
Yes, compliments are great.
but keep it genuine and specific,
Yes.
right? So instead of saying like a generic, you look nice,
Right.
try something like, that color looks amazing on you, or I love your sense of style.
Perfect. It shows that you're paying attention
Right.
and that you appreciate her individuality.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, what about flirting?
Ooh, flirting.
Any tips for adding a little bit of playful banter?
Flirting is all about creating a lighthearted, enjoyable atmosphere. So don't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Tease her gently,
Okay.
make eye contact, and just show off your sense of humor.
So find that sweet spot between being playful
Yes.
and respectful.
Exactly. It's a balance.
Right. And when the time feels right,
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to make your intentions clear.
Yes.
Ask her out on a date.
Yes.
Suggest an activity you could do together.
Yeah.
Be direct, but also respectful.
You got it.
Okay? Because I think beating around the bush can lead to
Yeah,
mixed signals and missed opportunities.
for sure.
And be prepared for any outcome, right? She might not feel the same way.
Right.
And that's okay.
It's okay.
Rejection is a part of life.
It is.
It doesn't diminish your worth or your value.
Absolutely not.
It's about putting yourself out there, being genuine,
Yeah.
and respecting her decision, whatever it may be.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And who knows? Maybe she's just waiting for you to make the first move.
Maybe she is.
So the key takeaway here is that building attraction is this multifaceted process.
It is.
It involves genuine connection, authenticity,
Yes.
clear communication,
Uh-huh.
and a dash of playful confidence.
A little spike. I love that. So it's all about being attuned to those subtle signs,
Yes.
understanding the psychology of attraction, and taking those brave steps to turn a spark of interest into something more meaningful.
That's the goal.
Sometimes it's as simple as taking a chance and seeing where it leads.
Sometimes it is.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the subtle signs of attraction.
It does.
We hope you learned some valuable insights along the way.
I hope so too.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.